One of the first major bodies of work that I undertook when I was really quite a young photographer were of the area of Cardiff that I was born and brought up in, because at the time it was being demolished, being cleared, to be replaced eventually by an industrial estate. But this was the area that most of my friends lived. This was the area that I went to school, so it became quite important to me. So I began to go down there at weekends and photograph the kids who were living in the midst of the demolition that was going on. The city council didn't really handle the whole affair very well. They demolished the area piecemeal, and the people had to live in this amongst this detritus and the mess that was caused by the clearance. But there was a positivity, I felt, among the kids, and so they became the kind of focus of a lot of my pictures. And because I'd gone to school with their brothers in sport school, I probably knew the family, and so I was kind of accepted in the area. At the same time, Cardiff itself was changing. The wider city was still locked in its kind of post-war look and feel, and this, I felt, was also about to change. And because I worked as an advertising and fashion photographer in the centre of Cardiff, I was able to negotiate the city every day with my camera and record these changes, record a city that I felt was going to change quite soon. And so I began to photograph the everyday life of the streets in Cardiff, and that became a secondary part of this body of work, which eventually turned into exhibitions that I've called City Stories, Photographs of Cardiff, from 1969 to 1977, when I actually left Cardiff to move here. And so what I'll do is I'll show you a few of those pictures in a sequence now and talk about them a little bit so you can get a sense of the entire project. There's a big exhibition of the work available. It's been shown already at the Found Gallery in Brecon, at the Welsh Senedd Futures Gallery in Cardiff and Peterhead, and it's recently just closed at Aberystwyth University School of Art Gallery. But it's still available. It's all here, framed up, ready to go. But now I'll just talk through a few of the pictures for you to get a sense and a flavour of the work. As you'll see from these pictures, the whole area was being demolished piecemeal by the council. So some houses were being lived in, while next door may have been emptied, cleared, and semi-gutted. The kids, though, seemed to rise above all this, although they were living in conditions that were not far from ideal. They became kind of semi-feral, kind of made the best of it, and took advantage of the semi-demolished houses to actually break in, strip out the lead, copper piping, and supplement their pocket money down the local scrapyard. I had no problem photographing down there, of course, because it was where I'd gone to school and I knew a lot of the families, so I was just accepted as a guy who was taking a real interest in what was going on down there. And it was kind of sad to see this once proud community quite literally being broken up. So I have some good memories of living in that area, but it was sad to see it go the way it did. Here's some of the kids actually breaking into the houses. And now we'll have a chat about some equipment that I used. Technically, photographically speaking, all these pictures were made actually very simply. The first Leica that I ever used was when I started work when I was 15, but I couldn't afford one of my own for some time after that. But I did have an old Rolleiflex, which is why some of the early pictures in this series are square format. Later I bought my first Leica, my own first Leica, which was screw mount Leica with a 35mm lens and an accessory viewfinder, and these two cameras are the only two that I've actually kept over the years. I've upgraded them obviously over the years. I have new Leicas and digital Leicas and so on, but for some reason I just kept these two, and these two are the actual photographs that I used to make all this body of work. The Leica was always with me, and when I didn't have that to hand early on, the Rolleiflex was there, and so photographically they were very simple, and that's actually the way I still choose to work. I choose to work very simply, photographically, strip things down to the bare essentials, and just keep on looking and keep on keeping your eyes open for those opportunities. As I was working at the time as an advertising and fashion photographer right in the heart of the city centre, I had access every day to walk around town, and it was quite clear that Cardiff was about to change. It was still in many ways locked into its post-war infrastructure, the look and feel of the city, the age of the shops and markets and so on. And so I was able to record everyday life, and I've always been fascinated by the ordinary, the everyday, those passing, fleeting moments that you can capture with your camera. And it's a way of making people perhaps more aware of their immediate environment and immediate surroundings, those humorous moments, those slightly surreal moments, the moments that you have gone in a fraction of a second, but photography, documentary photography particularly, of course, has the ability to be able to capture these for all time. And of course the look and feel 50 years on from when these photographs are taken, the city is vastly different now, and these pictures in a sense are a reminder of what things used to look like, how people used to navigate the city, people's reactions to things, the way you would leave your kids outside a shop, for instance. That's all gone now. It's hard to believe that it's over 50 years since I began to make this work. Something that people have commented on is how the city has changed quite dramatically in that time. I suppose if you live and work there, you don't notice those changes as much because they're gradual, but when you look back at them 50 years on, they become quite dramatic. And I think that's why this body of work has aroused so much more interest recently than perhaps it even did at the time when it was first exhibited way back then, over 40 years ago. And to that end, there have been 2 books published of the work. There's a hardback edition which has all the photographs in it. It's a complete record of the whole work, and that's available from my website and my sales page. And a really good value Cafe Royal book was published last year when the exhibition opened at the Found Gallery, and that's a really affordable way of getting just a little selection of the images. So there's a Cafe Royal book and a full hardback issue of the complete work. Thanks very much for watching, and if you can hit the subscribe button, that helps us a lot. Many thanks.